Hi family, welcome back. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Dominique Davis, also known as Brown and Bindi, and here on this channel we practice flexibility of the mind, the body, and the spirit. Shout out to the patrons. If it wasn't for you, this video would not be coming. So, oh, I can't believe I'm talking about this. It's been such a big part of my life and a big part of my journey and a big part of my trauma, but I just wasn't healed enough to talk about it. And yesterday I was going through the comments of my last video and I saw that there was a conversation that started between two subscribers about situationships. And I felt called. I heard God say, "You're ready. You're ready to talk about this and you're ready to share what you've learned," because one of my purposes here is to share my experiences to help the collective. And I am happy to do it. So all that being said, huge trigger warning. Huge trigger warning. There will be lots and lots of talk about porn and assault essay. Yeah, I might have to bleep out me even saying that. I'm just at this place in my life and in my journey where I am not only happy with who I am, but I understand that I can't do anything to make people stay. I can't do anything to make people love me. And I think that even with my spiritual religious journey and this internal battle that I was having with my YouTube and showing up authentically, scared that I would lose subscribers and all of that, um, I just realized that none of this is my responsibility. My only responsibility is to be authentic and to follow my path. That is it. And when I was thinking about this, I realized how much I've grown and how much I've had to develop and experience in order to become this person. A lot of this work can't just happen mentally. You have to change and experience things in your physical reality in order for your brain to say, "Oh, I am different. Life is different. I am worthy. I am capable." So, yeah, I think that has a big part to do with why I'm ready to talk about this. And I got my divorce 7 years ago. 7 years ago, which is bonkers. But it took me a long time to heal. And we could just get right into it. I have a little notebook with my notes so that I can like not get too off topic. The first thing I want to talk about is how oh, how your relationship feels determines the events that will manifest within the relationship. So what I mean by this is the person you are with, how they make you feel, not when they are stroking your ego and not when they're love bombing you, not when they are showing you affection, but otherwise. How they make you feel through their regular actions, how they make you feel through the effort they put into the relationship. Literally, how you feel is what is going to manifest within the relationship. And there was so much mental warfare that goes on with being in situationships where there's a gray area and there is no definition to a relationship, because you're still developing feelings and you're still loving a person wholly. And at any moment, at any time, the other person can say, "Well, we never established anything and I just determined this wasn't for me." And my first marriage started as a situationship. It was the situationship of a lifetime. It lasted, we were in a situationship before for about 3 years, maybe four, before we got into a relationship. So we were in a situationship for 3 to 4 years. We'd get together whenever he was between girlfriends or sometimes when he was still with girlfriends. And when we first got into let me back up and say we started as friends. We started as really good friends. And then just based on my own abandonment issues, I was like, he's a man and he's smart. We should be together forever. And then I just started simping for him immediately. And He caught the vibe very early on that like I would do anything for him. And, it was definitely that type of relationship where he knew that he could get away with any type of behavior. But the relationship started as a situationship. And when what would happen is he would be between girlfriends, and then every time I'd be like, this is my chance to prove myself. Red flag number one, you should never be proving yourself to the person you want to be with. They should be able to see your value by spending time with you. Your value is not something you have to prove. But between girlfriends, I'd just always be like, this is my chance, this is my chance. And then eventually we did start dating. He started dating me while he was still in a relationship with the girlfriend he was with before me, and that was such a messy situation. And I pretended not to know. I didn't have any proof, but intuition and his character. So but I pretended that I didn't know because I wanted him so desperately and so badly. And I'm to this day, I'm still very ashamed of that. One thing that I noticed was when we did get into our relationship, when we were in the situationship, that's when it was all fun and games, right? That's when like the time that we would spend together was fun. We would do stuff and we would be adventurous and all that. But when we actually got into a relationship, that's when his program started going haywire and he started to feel very whatever. So that led to him taking all of his internal chaos out on me. And what that turned into was like consistently comparing my body to other women, consistently, always watching porn, always, always. And I asked him to stop just because it wasn't the corn, but it was more so any addiction. If I'm with a partner and I see them doing anything too much, I'm going to ask them to stop so that we can like just talk about, how serious is this? So I asked him to stop, and that just turned into him doing it behind my back. And because the relationship was established in a situationship, I was just always afraid that I was going to lose him. Like if I ever put my foot down, if I ever stood my ground, it took me so long to convince him to be with me. So I'm going to lose him. So I can't really, really make him do anything. So he would even, I was in this relationship when I was in college. So he would even like take my college computer and watch porn. He would, he would literally like, I had two computers and he would get on incognito mode. I discovered incognito mode through him. He would get on incognito mode on my computers and just be like, I don't know what you're talking about. He was also one of those, will just lie, would just lie. And this caused such an internal battle between, you know, God and the way God speaks within me and the way God speaks within everyone, because the Holy Spirit is in everyone, the higher self is in everyone, and it's always speaking. It's always speaking to you. It's always reaching out to you. So there was that internal battle between my sense and my connection to God versus the material world and this man that I wanted so badly, because I was so scared that if I didn't have him, that would finally prove that I wasn't worth anything, that I wasn't worth dirt. So I have to just hang on to him. This was such a testament. That relationship was such a testament to my self-worth. It was ridiculous. He was constantly emotionally cheating. Constantly. I would find text on his phone. I would find messages on not MySpace, but like Facebook. Yeah, because I was going through his phone because I was that type of girlfriend. It was a completely different Dominique. It's not a Dominique that you guys know. Um, oh, oh man, I can't believe I'm not crying talking about this growth. One time he cried because I wasn't having sex with him. He cried because he had blue balls. Can I say that on YouTube? I don't know, but he was literally, it was finals week. And I will never forget the level of stress, because if anyone has pursued higher learning after high school, the level of stress that comes with college, it's like, you can't compare anything to it. You cannot compare anything to finals week in your undergrad. And It was that time. I was a senior and it was my undergrad and it was finals week, and I just remember him crying, just like the manipulation and the guilt for not having sex with him. So I did. And the damage that all of this did to my psyche and who I was as a person, it took so long. It took so long to heal. My whole healing journey, you know, the seeds of this unworthiness were definitely planted by my absent father, definitely. But one thing that we have to understand about trauma is that my father not being there could create trauma and patterns within me. And through those patterns, I sought relationships and experiences that mirrored how I felt when I was a child. But the thing is, when you're an adult, the situations that you can get into are a lot more serious than the situations you can get into when you were a child. So the trauma that you can expose yourself to as an adult can be life threatening. It can be life threatening. And looking back, I see how every part of that relationship was so separated from my spirit, and who I'm God's child. I was not God's child in that relationship. I was not. So, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the respect they give you. Oh man, the respect they give you is equivalent to what you believe you deserve. So, in this situationship that you may find yourself in, you know, maybe both parties are just newly out of relationships. Maybe life's complicated. Okay, that's y'all's situationship. But for everybody else, I need you guys to look at, again, how that person treats you and understand whether the way they treat you is a reflection of internally what you deserve. Because, spoiler alert, it is. And the only way to attract more is to expand your understanding of what you deserve, what you believe you are worthy of. No one else is going to do that work for you. It's up to us to say, this does not feel good because it's not in alignment with what I'm truly worthy of. Okay, so I'm gonna put the book down because this is where the big trigger comes in. So at the end of our relationship, I would consistently talk about separating and divorcing. We were married for 1 year at that point, and I was just always talking about, like, I don't think I can do this anymore. My anxiety around him always lying, because when you're with a compulsive liar, you always feel like the world's gonna crumble underneath you. I'll never forget, I was sitting with him and his phone rang over and over and over. And I was like, "Are you gonna get that?" And he was like, "It's just a scam caller." And I believe he picked it up. And then I was like, "Who was that?" And he was like, "It's just a scam caller." And then the phone started ringing again and it was the same number. And I was like, "Let me pick it up." So I picked it up and it was his student loans. And he was like, "Oh," I was like, "How many times have they been contacting you?" And he was like, "Not many." And then like, I think a month after that, oh my God, I'll never forget. I worked at Sephora, and I was sitting in the food court, and I went to get Chick-fil-A, and I give them my card to pay, and they're like, "There's nothing on this card." And I was like, "Oh, that's unfortunate." So I checked my bank account, our joint bank account, and it is cleared out. It is cleared out. Rent was due the next week. Our bank account was cleared out. And I called him and I was like, "Do you know what's going on?" And he was like, "Sally Mae emptied our account." And I was like, "Did you know this was going to happen? Did you know?" And he was like, No, I didn't know they were going to do this." And I was like, "All right, cool." So that happened. And it's situations like that. Obviously, when a person's constantly lying to you, it creates this disassociation between reality and the reality that they're creating for you to live in. And no matter how many times he lied to me, no matter how many times he hurt me, I always returned with the same amount of trust. I always returned with the same amount of love. So he would create, through these stories that he would tell me, he would create this reality that I was living in. But then every so often I would see what reality actually was, and my life would fall apart because Switching from one reality to another is not easy. And switching from a fantasy world to the real world is not easy. Um, and when I said I can't do this anymore because my mental state was just deteriorating from our relationship, that's when he started acting very, I can't put a word to it, just different. He started acting very different. He would get very mad at me very quickly. And the final straw was when I was sleeping and he essayed me. And that, or I was pretending to be asleep. And that situation, because we were married and because I was pretending to be asleep, it just created a lot of confusion within me. And it took me weeks to talk to people. The person I actually told the day of was Adam, my current husband, because we had become friends maybe like a month or two before. And he just cared about me so much. There was no funny business going on. And a lot of people think that I cheated on my first husband with Adam, and like, that's fine. I understand how they could think that. I'm not going to even fight against that. But I'm telling you, I did not. There was no funny business. But he was my friend. And the day it happened, I asked him to pick me up. And he picked me up and we just drove around Charlotte. And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "If this happens, what is that?" And he was like, "It's RAPE. And then weeks after that, I told friends and I was like, "If this happens, what is it?" And like, they were like, "This happened to you. Like, this is a real thing." So when I realized, I was not in my head. I was not in my head. I was not in my body. I was just going through the motions. But I knew that since people were telling me this was something that had happened to me, I was like, okay, I'm not safe with him. So that was the final straw. I was like, you need to leave the apartment. You need to get out of the apartment. And that was the end. And the story does have a happy ending, but it gets so mucky, and the light comes in perfectly through the window and shines on my ring. God is good. But it's like Adam truly represents my beginning. And I know some people are going to be like, "Girl, how can a man represent your beginning? How?" And I get that. I totally get it. But again, I am a huge believer that sometimes tactile, physical experiences are what tell our brain that the story we're living isn't true, because something else has happened in reality that does not align with the story that we're living. And like I said earlier, God is always trying to communicate with us. We get so stuck in these realities that we create for ourselves based on our worthiness that we are surrounded with mess. We're surrounded with lower vibrational people, surrounded with lower vibrational jobs and lower vibrational activities. Is just everything. It's hell on earth. And when I was with my first husband, that was truly, it was a living hell. And I'm not I'm not exaggerating. And when we're in these states, God is always talking to us. God is always reaching out to us like, please, it can be different. But we always have free will. And Adam is such a good example of an angel that God sent to me. Do not get me wrong. We had plenty of things to work on when we got together. We had plenty of things. Our relationship was very toxic at the beginning as well, but in a completely different way, which will happen when you don't work on your vibration. But one thing that I will say is so different is that after my ex moved out, and Adam would not date me until my lawyer sent me the papers saying that my divorce was being processed. Adam would not date me. Okay. So my divorce was being processed, and Adam and I, we started dating, and it was fun. Like, it wasn't like, we didn't say we were boyfriend girlfriend or anything like that, because I had just gotten out of marriage, but we were just like, we're spending time together, and like this gravitational pull between us was so strong. I was just like, we're spending time together, so yeah. But I will just never forget, like maybe a month after that paper, we had like a little squabble. I don't even remember what it was about. We had a little squabble over like text or something. So then I went home from it. I was at work and we had our little squabble through text. And then I went home and he texted me. He was like, "I'm coming over." And I was like, okay. So he comes over. He says he does not remember this, which I think is so funny, but he got down on both of his knees. He hugged my thigh. He like hugged my knees while I'm standing up. He hugs my legs. He looks up at me. He looks into my eyes and says, "If you want to do this, if you want to do this, if you want to be with me, let's do it. Let's go all in. Let's be together." And that was the first time in my life that's ever happened to me. And that him doing that was so against what I believed was possible for me. I don't know if y'all have seen Adam, but he's fine. Adam is really fine.
Hey, pretty girl. Hey, babe, what would you do if I told you that I haven't had any water all day?
And I mean, I'm fine too, but Adam's fine. He's talented. He's so sweet. Like, y'all have seen his children. He is so sweet. Like, Adam is so good. And there was this man, this good man, saying, "I will give it all for you, girl." And that was just so, I'd never experienced anything. So him doing that, it was like this wave of like the cover. Oh, I've been talking for 21 minutes. That's not bad. Okay, the veil was lifted. Like the veil from who I previously believed I was, it was lifted, and I was like, this is not true. You know why? Because Adam did not want a situationship. That's not what Adam wanted. So the moral of this story is, if somebody sees your value, they will want you to know how they feel, period. That's it. That is it. Full stop. And if they are playing games, if they're saying, "Well, I don't know what's going to happen," they don't see your value, shoddy. And I wish I could go back in time and tell myself that. So let me see if I have any more notes. No, that's it. That is it. So that was today's video. I'm gonna come out with more videos. And yeah, I don't know how much they're gonna be centered around law of attraction. I'm gonna put all my videos in a playlist that say learn about law of attraction here. Law of attraction is a part of my belief system. It's truly how the fabric of the universe works. Like, that's just the truth. Even if I want it to be like, that's not true, it's just true. But I really want to make content that can talk to people and reach people that aren't obsessed with spirituality. And yeah, I'm a Christian now. Yeah. And I know a lot of us in the community, including myself sometimes, a lot of us are assuming that me backing away from law of attraction content has to do with Christianity. But it doesn't, because God created law of attraction. And I could become this law of attraction Christ pastor, but that is not my path. That is not my path. Yeah. So I have the urge to apologize for taking so long to tell you guys this, but I know that there's no apology required. I know that you guys know me and love me, especially the ones of y'all that are still subscribed. The ones of whoever is still watching this video. You love me because you're here at the 25-minute mark. Thanks for letting me grow and evolve and all that fun stuff. And I'm looking forward to bringing more content. Let me know what you have questions about, and I'll make a video about it. I love you so much. See you next time. Bye.